Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and start reading the poem. I've got my book in front of me, so I'll be looking down every so often to read it. And follow along in your Unit 5 Lesson 2 literature assignment. You'll see it there in the document on the left-hand side of the screen. Remember to make sure you're annotating as you're following along, and think about those TDQ questions and use those back pocket questions to help you write your response. So let's go ahead and get started with our reading. Starting at line 277. He sailed the sea for 7 days and 10, and on the 18th day a murky mountain of the Phaeacian land appeared. It rose up like a shield beyond the misty sea. Returning from the Ethiopians and pausing on Mount Salama, Poseidon, master of earthquakes, and saw the distant raft. Enraged, he shook his head and told himself, "This is outrageous." So it seems the gods have changed their plan about Odysseus while I was absent. He has almost reached Phaeacia, where it is his destiny to flee the rope of pain that binds him now. But I will goad him to more misery, till he is sick of it. He gathered up the clouds and seized his trident and stirred around the sea and roused the gusts of every wind and covered earth and sea with fog. Night stretched from heaven. Eurus, Notus, blasting Zephyr and Boreas, the child of the sky, all fell and rolled a mighty wave. Odysseus grew weak at knees. He cried out in despair. More pain? How will it end? I am afraid the goddess spoke the truth, that I will have a sea of suffering before I reach my homeland. It is coming true. Zeus whirls the air. Look at those clouds. He agitates the waves as winds attack from all directions. I can hold on to one thing, certain death. Those Greeks were lucky, 3 and 4 times over, who died upon the plain of Troy to help the sons of Atreus. I wish I had died the same day the mass of Trojans hurled their bronze-tipped spears at me around the corpse of Peleus' son. I would have had a funeral and honor from the Greeks, but now I have to die this cruel death. A wave crashed onto him and overturned the raft, and he fell out. The rudder slipped out of his hands, the wind blew all directions, and one enormous gust snapped off the mast. The sail and yardarm drifted out to sea. Then for a long time rushing, crashing waves kept him submerged. He could not reach the surface. The clothes Calypso gave him weighed him down. At last he rose and spat out the sour salt water out of his mouth. It gushed forth in a torrent. Despite his pain and weakness, he remembered his raft and lunged to get it through the waves. He climbed on top of it and clung for life. The great waves carried it this way and that, and when the thistles, clumping close together, are borne across the prairie in the north wind, so these winds swept the raft across the sea. The south wind hurls it, then the north wind grabs it, then the east wind yields and let the west wind drive it. By stepping softly, Ino, the white goddess, Cadmus' child, once human, human-voiced, now honored with the gods in salty depths, noticed that he was suffering and lost. With pity, like a gull with wings outstretched, she rose up from the sea, sat on the raft, and said, "Poor man, why does enraged Poseidon create an Odyssey of pain for you? But his hostility will not destroy you. You seem intelligent. Do as I say. Strip off your clothes and leave the raft behind, for winds to take away. With just your arms, swim to Phaeacia. Fate decrees that there you will survive. Here, take my scarf and tie it under your chest. With this immortal veil, You need not be afraid of death or danger. But when you reach dry earth, untie the scarf and throw it out to sea, away from land, and turn away. With that, the goddess gave it and plunged back down inside the surging sea. Just like the gull, the black wave covered her. The hero had suffered so much danger, was troubled and confused. He asked himself, some deity has said to leave the raft, but what if gods are weaving tricks again? I will not trust her yet. With my own eyes, I saw the land she said I should escape to, and it is far away. I will do this. As long as these wood timbers hold together, I will hang on, however hard it is. But when the waves have smashed my raft to pieces, then I will have no choice to swim. While he was thinking this, the Lord of Earthquakes Poseidon roused a huge and dreadful wave that arched above his head. He hurled it at him, as when a fierce wind ruffles up a heap of dry wheat chaff, it scatters here and there. So were the raft's long timbers flung apart. He climbed astride a plank and rode along, as if on horseback. He took off his clothes Calypso gave him, but he tied the scarf around his chest and dove into the sea, spreading his arms to swim. The Lord of Earthquakes saw him and nodded, muttering, "At last you are in pain. Go, drift across the sea, till you meet people blessed by Zeus, the Sky Lord. But even then, I think you will not lack for suffering." He spurred his fine-maned horses and went to Aegea, where he had his throne. Athena, child of Zeus, devised a plan. She blocked the path of all the other winds, told them to cease, and made them go to sleep, but roused swift Boreas and smoothed the waves in front of him, so that Odysseus could reach Phaeacia and escape from death. 2 days and 2 nights he drifted on the waves. Each moment he had expected he would die.